Is it up?
Yeah, it's up and our mics are hot. Just be careful. Let me get this X chat set up.
What?
What's up, fellas? We will be live shortly.
Fucking shit, the smoking timeline is lit all over. It's over, world's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow, the smoking timeline is all over. It's over, world's biggest Alex Joner.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
Fucking shit, the smoking timeline is lit all over. It's over, world's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow, the smoking timeline is all over. It's over, world's biggest Alex Joner.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
Ooh. Why aren't my emojis working, guys? I got 2 minutes and 57 seconds.
I seen some of them earlier.
Did you?
Yeah. Just an overlay.
Well, we'll find out.
Timeline is lit all over. It's over, world's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow, the smoking timeline is all over. It's over, world's
I need to add a new drum line to all that.
Joner.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
You should lay down like
I need to.
little analog track for us.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
We'll be up on camera here in about 2 minutes, joined today by the Deacon Mojack. Finally dragged him out of the woods. That's him you hear talking there. Also joining us live from South Carolina via Zoom is Zeb Boykin. You can't see him, but I can.
South Kakalaki.
And his most recent victim in the chair behind him.
Yeah, he found me, folks. I tried to hide.
What gender is that tranny skeleton, Zeb?
Looks like a male pelvis to me.
Well, in theory, you should be able to send up to 10 emojis and they'll fly across the screen. I'll have to wait until we're actually on the screen to figure out what's going on with that. Everything was working great. We got a little poll for you today. We'll talk more about that later. Somebody already somehow voted, but you can vote with a hashtag. And we'll do some live call-ins in the second hour.
Wow, it's like I never
All
left.
of my sexual fantasies involve
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Feels good, man.
Does. About time, eh? Like I said, it took a while. You had to find me. Drag me out, kicking and screaming.
I still, like the last time I saw you 6 months ago, you said you were going to hunt bears.
Yep.
And then you walk in here and go, I can't wait till bear season's coming up. Fuck you.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
It was a fairly okay timing on the song. What's going on, world champions? Welcome to 3CC Live Redux, I guess, like Apocalypse Now Redux. Call me Coppola.
Cool.
Call me heroin salesman. Call me crazy show maker person thing. Today we will be talking about the Intolerable X. That's the name of the show. And gosh, I'd really like to figure out why that's not working. Let me take a quick look at the emojis, just make sure they're turned on, which they are, but I don't know what's going on. So welcome to 3CC. Another thing to do, as always, my name is John Ward. Welcome, world champions. We should be live on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Pilled. You should be able to chat from any of those platforms, as you see to my right on your screen right here, and say hello. Joining me today, the Deacon.
Hi, guys. I'm back.
He's back. He's made it back, and he is prepared. And also with us today, Zeb Boykin down in South Carolina. What's going on, Zeb?
What's up, boys? What's up?
As per usual, let's say a quick hello to the chat, which I see now. I think I understand what the problem is. Hold on one second. Let me come into here. Let me refresh this. Did that do anything? Did that do anything? It didn't do anything. So I'll tell you what, I think I need to pop that out one more time. Always fun right at the beginning. Live, and pop it out. And gosh, I have hopefully...
Thought I was going to be rusty.
Hopefully that fixed it. No. No. What in the ever-living hell? Oh. 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 There we go. I think I got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There it is.
There we go. Okay, sorry about the hassle there. That is my bad, but now we are officially where we want to be. What is going on? Welcome to Intolerable Acts show outline today. Okay, so American history, 1700 to 1776. History, a little bit boring sometimes, I know, but there's a reason. And then we're going to talk mostly about the 12-day war, take a short break around an hour, and then we will take your live call-ins. We'll throw that number up in the second hour. What's going on, chat? Sorry, it took me a minute there to fix the emojis. Hard M's in the chat. I see. Laughing Dog. What's going on, Zeb? Maddie England. All the names and Green Channel members. I strongly encourage you to consider that. It helps support the show, support the channel. Artful Dodger, who did the very logo you're looking at right now, and a number of other pieces of art for the studio. So thank you, Dodger, and welcome. John Tarso, what's going on? Moonchild, always good to see you. Finally, the answer to the question, what is the problem? We'll see, maybe. Drift Wolf, hello, John, the world champion Ward. What's going on, Drift Wolf? And then looks like our Rumble chats are working. What's going on? Kona Boyd lands solo. Little 07 salute there, Angry Ginger. Hunter King on YouTube. I guess maybe let me just send one more chat here from X Test. Yep, you should be able to chat from X and Pilled Test. All right, so everybody is working. Again, throw any questions you have, anything like that up there if you would like. We got you up there. We have everybody up. So what is going on, gentlemen?
What isn't going on?
Starting with Intolerable Acts, I don't know. Should we do the 12-day war first? Let me just give you some context here on the Intolerable Acts, and then we'll go. How about that?
All right.
So, if you didn't know, the Intolerable Acts, sometimes referred to as the Insufferable Acts or Coercive Acts, my goodness, were a series of 5, it's really four main ones, punitive laws passed by the British Parliament in 1774 after the Boston Tea Party, right? So the chucking all the tea, that was the Sons of Liberty, like Sam Adams type people, dressed up as Native Americans. Well, of course, things happened before that led up to Americans who were not yet Americans getting kind of pissed off about all of this. And it kind of the main one, 1765, was the first Quartering Act. In general, the reason I'm talking about this, and I'm not trying to do a history lesson, if you haven't noticed, and this is not my original idea, I saw Harrison Smith tweeted at me, he works for InfoWars, good show. He had this idea a year back, some other people have had this idea. But number one, I think there's quite a few intolerable acts going on in our lives right now, and I'm not really willing to tolerate them anymore. By the way, it was the first and second Continental Congresses that were created to deal with these very sorts of things. And so quartering or hosting a foreign army in your native country while also being responsible for providing them not just housing, but food, resources, things like that. Does that sound familiar to you, chat, or either of you gentlemen? Because to me, that reminds me of illegal immigration.
Absolutely.
And even welfare.
Absolutely.
Even welfare, both of those things. And so Harrison had that same thought I think one of these, as Moonchild said, what is the problem? One of the problems is I don't think we've really realized that we're dealing with some intolerable acts and that we have enough agency as a group to do something about them. So let me grab you two gentlemen's thoughts on that real quick, and then we'll go on to the Pine Tree Riot. But number one is, do you see it the way I see it?
I do. And not only the acts, but and things that we have overlooked. These have been going on a long time. If you think about all of this has been, and we're just now bringing it to light. Why hasn't this been brought to light before?
There's a quote from Fight Club, not to use movies as scripture, but when they're forming Fight Club, Edward Norton says, it was on the tip of everybody's tongue. Tyler and I just gave it a name.
See, right there it is. Nobody has brought it to light like it has been brought to light lately. And the one man who's done it.
It also raises the question, so in 1765, this was the British government doing it to the Americans. Who is the monarch now enacting these intolerable things upon us? I don't know that I have an exact answer for that question, but it's also tracking me. My camera's stupid.
I would say also it needs to be noted that this is when we're going to look back at the 1773, 74. It was a very, very short time frame. Like Mojack said, this has been going on for a long time, and so if you have a slow burn, it's a lot harder to have a reactionary force when it comes to it, rather than boom bang pow right on the back end of the Boston Tea Party, right? Mm-hmm.
Pine Tree Riot. Second one, 1772 now, still not 1776. The Pine Tree Riot, if you didn't know, that's the origin of this flag. They call it the Pine Tree flag. Sometimes they call it an Appeal to Heaven flag. New Hampshire, 1772. Basically, the British enacted, I think it was called the Mast Act. And any pine trees 24 inches or larger were immediately property of the crown. I'm talking about pine trees in America. Property of the crown to make masts and booms for ships because they chop down all their own trees. And then they reduced that from 24 inches. What's going on, Cornish Co? Thank you. 16-month champion with the blue badge. They reduced the size down, right here, down to 12. So 12 inches is no longer all that big of a tree. So basically, there's like all trees in the United States are ours. And there was a particular guy who took issue with that, said, fuck you. And the Pine Tree Riot is what would ultimately inspire the Boston Tea Party. I think in the Pine Tree Riot, they also dressed up as Native Americans. And when you talk about the intolerable acts, there's a great meme from the day. Right here. Let me get that a little bigger. Not what I wanted. There we go. So believe it or not, the representation of Native Americans was a Native American. So this woman getting attacked and having shit poured down her throat, that's us. And these are all the British intolerable acts, as you see. So memes have been around for a long time also. But if you're ever wondering where this very famous flag comes from, this was, again, 1772. Appeal to Heaven. It's the Pine Tree Riot. The British said those are all ours, and we said fuck off.
And see, we could sit here and we could put modern names to every one of those people in that picture, in that portrayal.
Mm-hmm.
We could assign names to every one of those, be it a country name, be it a person's name, be it an act that occurred in any country that shouldn't have happened. You could put that to a face right there in that picture.
Now, coming up to 1776, and we'll get to the end of this, you're, of course, familiar with the United States Declaration of Independence. What you may not be aware of is that in that document are the 27 grievances. The 27 grievances is a section from the Declaration of Independence. It was the Second Continental Congress. It's the grievances against the king. If you're looking for ways to word our current grievances or to enumerate even our current grievances or how we start going about all of this with language and what's happening to us, it's on the tip of our tongue. Let's give it a name. We'll start with the grievances. I'm not going to go through these in detail, but the king has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He's forbidding governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, right? Like, no, you can't build a wall. Passed other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, called together legislative bodies at unusual places, uncomfortable places, distant, blah, 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 has dissolved representative houses, has refused, you get the idea, we're only on number 7, obstructed the administration of justice, sounds very familiar, made judges dependent on his will alone, sounds familiar, erected a multitude of new offices. Getting the idea? He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has effected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. Combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution. Pretty good one. Quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. Also a great one. Protecting those people by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit. Well, we got Carmelo Anthony going on right now. We'll see what happens with that. Cutting off our trade, imposing taxes without our consent. You listening to something, Zeb?
My volume's down. It ain't me. Usually it is. He yells at me.
I don't know what Zeb was up to there.
Oh.
Depriving us from the benefit of a jury trial by our peers, transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretend offenses, maybe less of that one. Abolishing the free system of English laws, taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, suspending our own legislators, abdicated government here, they're just not doing their job, plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burned our towns, destroyed the lives of our people. Yeah, that one hits home.
That never happened. They were peaceful.
And you get the idea. So the 27 grievances, we'll be looking at this more, but a very fundamental part of the Declaration of Independence. And that's really all I have planned for today as far as the Intolerable acts go, something you can explore on your own time, but we'll prepare. Maybe I'll do like a weekday, a little bit more of a breakdown. But this is our history. I don't know how our chat feels about it. The king is dead. Long live the king. Monarch Moonchild is responsible. What's going on, Plick? Welcome, Plick. Didn't catch you before. Who else? Lance the Boyle. What's going on? Jeremiah Fix. Antonia 707. So again, by all means, throw up a chat from any of the platforms. CX is working. All seems to be
real
working.
Quick.
Go ahead, Zeb.
Before we move on from the Intolerable acts, I just want to kind of throw this idea out there, the concept itself, and kind of play it on what we have going on right now is, and I kind of dove into this a little bit deeper into my live stream, I believe Wednesday. But we have this idea that we ought to be tolerant, maybe not you specifically, but America in general.
Sure.
That we ought to be tolerant. And there's a phrase that goes, there's a thought that stops thought, and that's the only thought that ought to be stopped. A little bit of tongue twister, but the concept still applies, right? So if you're tolerant to intolerance, inevitably that intolerance is going to consume the tolerant. And so that's what we see specifically in New York with the mayor race. He has a intolerant ideology that is going to consume a tolerant ideology. And so we have to come to a position where we recognize where, like we were talking about earlier, that flip of a switch where we say, okay, this isn't going to last if we continue down this road.
Yeah, it's escalated to a point where, like, I think there was a time where we were being tolerant and welcoming, where the influx of people wasn't necessarily consciously trying to take advantage of that. But now the code has been cracked, and now that is what they're doing. And so Molyneux, who just, Stephen Molyneux, or Stefan, or however you say his fucking name, he just got back on Twitter finally. He had a good quote the other day, which is tolerating a sin is participating in that sin.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go back to the 70s, I mean, we looked at immigration then a lot different than what we do now. And it's amazing how tolerant we are now compared to what we were back then. Because back then, the Middle East, since we're into the Middle East, was part of our culture, everyday news with Iran-Contra, with the hostages, all that. I grew up with all that. So Iran and that whole concept of that has been with me for a long time. But like I said, back in the 70s, we weren't as tolerable. We didn't open the gates, and we just, we look at things a little bit different. And I can see over the years, over the decades, how as a country, we've become very tolerant to the intolerable.
Terminally tolerant.
Yes.
We have a disease tolerance.
Yes. And now that things are being brought to the surface, now people are starting to understand that this isn't right. That this has been going on way too long, and we need
a lot of this tolerance is just simply, it boils down to weakness.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
expand on that.
For what it will.
Expand on what you mean by that.
It boils down to weakness, unwilling to engage in confrontation, because that confrontation is going to come, and so you just kowtow and let whatever is going to happen and deal with it on the back end, instead of maybe to quote Jordan Peterson here, attacking the dragon in his cave instead of letting him come out.
Yeah. If you look at the protests back in the 70s during the Vietnam War, the 60s into the 70s with the Vietnam War, those kids knew what they were talking and they were protesting about. If you went out and asked any one of them, they would tell you what their cause was.
Oh, you mean in contrast to now?
Yeah. Now you go out today and I don't know, but he did it, so we just came out. And
especially this New York mayor where they're like, I hate all those ideas, but I love socialism or something.
That's where I was going.
You don't know what you're talking about.
With the mayor's race up in New York. That's exactly what you see going on up there. We don't like him, but hey, everybody else is doing it, we're going along with him.
Slugs for salt.
Yeah.
Well, the hippie movement was a CIA psyop, but people jumped onto that bandwagon. Now they just pay people to go out and protest. So maybe there's a little bit of
where'd the LA riots go? What happened there?
And they hand out equipment and vest and everything they need. And where's that coming from? Now back then, those kids were getting hit with bricks and they were beat with billy clubs.
But they really were out there believing what they were protesting.
Believing what they were protesting, yes, because they were tired of being tolerant to the intolerable.
Were you one of the people throwing bricks at those kids?
No, man, I was too young.
You're never too young to huck a brick, but
well, I know, but I grew up, we didn't have that in my town.
I know,
but I know what you're saying.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I remember watching that shit on the news in the evenings and stuff. That was freaked you out as a kid. Because we're in a small town.
Imagine taking a person from the '60s and dropping them now. That would be like, check this news out.
Check this shit.
So, I think that's actually, it seems so simple. Quickly, Robert Whaley, what's going on? What's your take on Bacon's rebellion in 1676? We will go backwards, but not today. Today we're just starting a little 10 years leading up till 1776. Yes, starting in the early 1700s and of course before as well. This wasn't like a one day people living in the colonies were like, for no reason whatsoever, we're going to rebel. There was a lot of shit that it was the slow boil.
Yep.
And then you hit the Intolerable Acts. They sort of identified, all right, hold on a second. You're starting to do shit that, speaking of tolerance, I'm not willing to tolerate. Of course, what you're willing to tolerate is also a function of your self-esteem. The lower your self-esteem is, the more you're going to tolerate. And it's also a function of attention. If you're distracted, that's bread and circuses. The more of that going on, the more other stuff you're also willing to tolerate. So tolerance is very key. And I agree with both of you gentlemen, and it looks like a number of people in the chat. We have a pathological degree of tolerance going on in the United States. I would argue, Zeb, maybe you have a thought on this. You and I have talked a lot about animal behavior and domestication. I think terminal tolerance is part of a form of domestication. Kind of like how a domesticated animal will just stand there as you walk up to it and then beat it to death. It just never sees it coming.
Well, it's like there was a study come out not just recently where people that use AI terminally are now literally becoming retarded.
Oh yeah.
And so in the same way is you develop a pattern, you're not able to escape from that pattern without some type of self-awareness.
I didn't mean to cut you off there, but a great example of that is astronauts in space. So there's a saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you go into space, you start losing a bunch of muscle mass because there's no gravity. Well, yeah, if you start outsourcing all your thinking to Grok, you don't retain that ability forever. Yep. You'll literally start to lose that ability.
Yep.
I kind of wonder... Is that not the purpose of AI, to take that agency away from people?
It goes both ways too, right? So Charles Murray writes in his book where he was trying to develop a faster reading ability. And so he said he did this for 3 months. He took a class for 3 months and he did this, and he was able to read like 3 times faster than he was prior to when he went in. But he said if you weren't doing it every day, you lost that ability to do it. And so I think in the same way, the people that just to continue to do a thing to make them retarded or make them tolerant, they can maintain it on down. And so it takes effort, continuous effort to better yourself, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Well, going on from tolerance to subject number 2 here, the 12-day war. A lot of things required from us as Americans to mentally deal with all of this. Let me give you a quick rundown. Of course, speaking of AI, I see one good use of AI, and that is for summaries of timelines of news articles. Although in rereading this, the timeline was not exactly correct. And so I made another one, which is also still not fully correct.
Oh, AI is completely useful. I'm not saying that. It's the people. It was the same thing with Google search engine coming out of Encyclopedia Britannica or wherever you were getting your information from. Is like the people that were intelligent enough to use the encyclopedias as they ought to be used were intelligent enough to then get a leg up when the search engines came around. The same thing is going to happen with AI. The people that are able to use it as it ought to be used is going to leapfrog.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can use a hammer and a saw and a shovel and not become a twig with no muscle. You just got to use your muscle other ways and things like, you know what I mean? Anyway. But 12-day war, of course, summary of timeline events. Of course, you guys are probably well aware with this leading up to Trump's incredible little video, which we'll play here in a second. But somewhere around June 12th, 13th, maybe 11th, whatever, depends on which fucking internet article you read. Israel conducts a major airstrike targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. This all started when Israel attacked Iran. Was Iran making nuclear weapons? I don't know. That's the argument. But Israel shot at them first. Was other stuff happening before this? Yes, of course. So Israel has their reasons, but they fired first. They were Han Solo in the original Star Wars before they retconned it. Han shot first. He did in the original.
Yeah.
Day later, Trump gives some statements on it, says he's spoken to everybody, Iran and Israel, and is doing very well, quote. Another day later, Trump returns early from the G7 to focus on Israel, Iran. Reports emerged that Trump's stance on Iran shifted under pressure from Israel, though details remain vague. And so this is what kicked off this whole influencer war. And that is what we have this poll going for. And I've chosen 3 people that I think represent the kind of 3 different influencer takes. You can vote on these from any of the 4 platforms by typing into the chat hashtag followed by the name of the person. So go ahead and give that a shot. But let me tell you what their takes were first. We have Nick Fuentes, who I think you probably a young guy, very polarizing. His take was that this is proof that the United States is permanently and forever owned by Israel. Trump is an Israel puppet. We're going to war with Iran. We will have boots on the ground. It's going to be another Afghanistan. It's going to be another Iraq. That was Nick Fuentes. Brendan Dilley, really good guy. He runs the Dilley Meme Team, huge pro-Trump account. He had kind of the opposite perspective on this, which is Trump or nothing. I don't care what it appears to look like. I don't care what you may think is happening. I trust Trump no matter what to do the right thing and to be America first. And then Sundance, if you don't know, that's the guy that runs the website Conservative Treehouse. I'm a big fan of that website. I don't believe everything on it, but I'm a big fan of it. I think he does good research. He had sort of the same reaction that I think I had at this point on the 17th or so, which was that, damn it, man, this sure does not look good. It doesn't look like America is its own independent country. We really do seem to be a bit of a vassal state for Israel and do what they want for no fucking reason whatsoever. That being said, been watching Trump for 10 years, seen so many times of him navigate these situations with some plan that was already in place. And I think if we give it some time, hopefully Trump will find a way to get the United States out of this situation without a war, without a problem with Israel, without a problem with Iran. So that was Sundance. So you can vote for these from any chat. I'm gonna try it real quick. I'll do a hashtag Sundance. Did I spell it right? All right, well, fuck. Might have to refresh that one too. Man, I spent like an hour setting that up and testing it. It was all working great. Well, I'll see if I can figure it out with this. But so we'll pull that poll up later. But I don't know. You guys, I mean, I know, Zeb, your probably initial reaction was, fuck, not again.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Nick was closer to right than the other two were. I mean, I covered this pretty extensively. We've done, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours of this over the last week or so. And we were right, surprised. You know, the problem is people want to look at this thing through their own lens. And this is just an issue across the board with people. Is that not that they don't have their own bias, but that they refuse to
it is working.
Look at things.
It's taking a minute. Go ahead.
They refuse to look at reality as reality is. And so, I mean, we can call it a 12-day war. I think that's fairly accurate, but it's the beginning of a longer war. This thing isn't over. It's going to happen again. All Israel did was shift their fires essentially to Gaza, right? They just finished bombing a majority Christian village in Gaza like yesterday, I believe. So all they did was shift their fires. That's it. There's a temporary ceasefire. It's going to come back again. I mean, Trump just posted yesterday. It is terrible what they are doing to Israel, or what they are doing in Israel to Bibi Netanyahu. He is a war hero, blah, blah, blah. The United States of America spent billions of dollars a year, far more than any other nation, protecting and supporting Israel. And then he finishes up with, let's go, let Bibi go. He's got a big job to do. And so, you know, this doesn't fare well for the future. I mean, as soon as Israel finishes up in Gaza, as they have done with the other settlements to the south of them, they bomb them, they move in, they settle. They have an agreement not to do that, but they do it anyway because nobody's gonna challenge them. And so as soon as they finish that up, they're just gonna point their guns right back on Iran. I mean, we've done this all throughout the Middle East. I mean, I was a part of. You know. I don't know what you want to call it, bombing runs in Libya. So, I mean, I've been there. I know how it goes, and you know, it's going to happen inevitably. They've been calling for Iran since '92 to get rid of their nuclear weapons, right? So in '92, Bibi Netanyahu was saying that Iran had nuclear weapons. They were only 3 or 4 years away from it, right? Here we are, 30 some odd years later, and you know, they have nukes, right? And so you have sources from CNN. I know we don't trust CNN entirely, but they came out and said that there was no evidence of enriched uranium that was destroyed in the 3 bombing sites. And then you have Trump, Vance, and Hegseth coming out saying that they were. And then you have Lindsey Graham just, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, Sunday. So Friday or Thursday or Friday saying that there was no evidence of enriched uranium being bombed. They have 900 pounds of enriched uranium, and we have no evidence of it being destroyed. And so I think there's a fight even inside, not even just amongst the influencers, but inside of these power structures that we're seeing. And I would like to believe Trump. I would like to believe Vance and Hegseth, but I don't think I do. I haven't seen the evidence for it. But at the same time, it's Lindsey Graham and CNN. They have an incentive to say that it wasn't destroyed, and so Trump and Hegseth and Vance and all those guys, they have an incentive to say it was destroyed. So here we are, and it's not over with as well.
Well, what is their, again, just for my stupid ass, what's their incentive to say that it was destroyed? What do they get out of that?
Because if it wasn't destroyed, then it is a bad look on the military and their strike call. If it wasn't destroyed, then it wasn't there and it was moved, or it didn't exist in the first place. And so you don't just move enriched uranium, especially 900 pounds. By the time you pack it up, you're looking at like 2 tons buried deep within the mountain. And so either they moved it and they still have it, which leads us into another war, or they never had it in the first place, which is even worse because they were lied to and we still bombed them. still started a war over a lie again, right? WMD is Iraq.
Yeah. Do you think it's... Go ahead.
That's what I was just going to say. That takes us right back to the WMDs. And
this is their playbook. I mean, it's copy paste. I mean, you could look at it at the beginning and see how it's going.
You know, we were lied to then. So everybody like us, our guard's up. You know, when reports like this come out and we can't actually see that physical BDA in front of us.
This was different.
We're going to
ask the average person was suspicious.
We're going to start asking questions. Who is right? Who is telling the truth? Who can we trust after the last debacle?
Yeah, that was a big change. I think the initial mainstream reaction, part of this maybe is because the left has become so rabidly anti-Israel for entirely different reasons. But everyone, I think, had that initial, which is particularly like why someone like Dilley had to come out and rally the troops, so to speak. So that was a good thing, I think, is that everybody was immediately suspicious. But what Zeb, I kind of see in retrospect as a possibility, I of course don't know. Number one, I think Trump and everybody on his team, you know, were like, they also remember Iraq. They also remember Afghanistan. They also remember this copy-paste playbook. And so is it not possible, even going as far as they coordinated with Iran using back channels, that this whole attack and enriched uranium and all of that, like, say the lie is the enriched uranium. And so so Trump has to sit down and say, how do we get out of this without getting into a war, but in a way that also, like let's say Israel really does have real influence. I think this all this situation and the way it unfolded, that's the somewhat still scary part, is I think Trump had him doing it this way indicates that there really is Israeli influence in our government. But he I think asked himself the question, what is the least amount of collateral damage we can cause and exit this stupid fucking war that's starting to happen? And so he calls this ceasefire. I think he knows that everyone's going to be a little fucking faggot about it. They are. And so that allows him to just throw up his hands and say, we said ceasefire. You guys are being fucking stupid. United States is out. Let's play that video really quick.
That was the biggest smokescreen, was the ceasefire.
And this one will be in the history books, I think.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you have
Yeah, I mean, John, I think you're right on that. I do agree that maybe there was a little bit of a play to kind of expose themselves. I also think that there's this big beautiful bill has been floated, and so they needed that to pass to get funding for deportations, quote unquote. I don't know if I entirely agree with that, but the premise remains is that I think that was partially an agreement was bomb Iran will help you pass this big, beautiful bill. But that in itself is a problem, too.
Go on.
We have to start a war to get funding for deportations. And
well, that's the question, Zeb, is did we start a war?
Well, a ceasefire necessarily requires a war.
I don't mean definitionally. Like, I kind of agree on paper.
Yeah, but if you go back to Korea, there were ceasefires during Korea, and Korea was a police action.
I'm not talking about definitions. I'm just saying I don't see us invading Iran right now.
I would hope not.
What do you mean right now?
Like we're literally not doing it right now. We're not.
Well, right now. I mean, because they're bombing Gaza. So my friend texted me the other day when he announced a ceasefire. Like immediately after, I was like, dude, give it an hour. Do you expect Israel just to not bomb people? I mean, they've been doing it for 50 years. Like that's it's just like as who said it? Mark Levin said it's in their DNA.
It is.
That fucking
I
guy.
mean, this war has been going on between these countries for 500 years, and it's not
I
going
think
to stop.
Hicks has said it too. It's in their blood.
It is.
Everybody
That's-
knows this. All you have to do is open your
Yeah.
eyes.
And why,
Well, I see this as Trump properly understanding what's really being fought over here. And that is the story of the United States and the story of Israel in the Middle East. It's not even... down the road, something crazy is going to happen when we get too obsessed with stories, and real war still matters, and people are going to forget that, and some Caesar will come along and just kick the shit out of everybody and ignore their stories. But right now, to separate ourselves from Israel, which I believe has real influence in our government, that looked like the best Trump could do with what he had to work with. Like,
yeah, but isn't
he
that
has
bad, though?
publicly attacked Israel. We're not invading Iran. There isn't a war right now. Will there be one in the future? I think that's an extremely valid point, but is maybe downstream from avoiding an immediate catastrophe, which Trump did, I think, so far. I don't disagree. Like, we just got to wait and see. But what's kind of happened that's a good thing is when we went to invade after September 11th, everybody was hanging American flags outside their house. We were all for it. Now, I think the public sentiment is very not for it, except for these war hawks in our government. And so Trump, with this little clever maneuver, has entered into the mainstream this new story. Now, all of us are well aware of this, having followed politics for 10 years, but the average, like, look at all the pro-Israel, pro-Jewish Christians, Judeo-Christian, Jews, like Christians that say Jews are God's chosen people, just bizarre fucking things like that. Now we finally can start talking about America as separate from Israel. We can finally start talking about Israel isn't this God's chosen people. It's just another country that we can deal with politically like any other country. And fundamentally, we should treat America as America first, whether it's Israel or anybody else. And Israel sort of enjoyed this special status right about until Trump did this video, I think. I think that's a good thing.
It's definitely exposed the hypocrisy, even like you said, between this Israel and Judeo and God's chosen people mindset. But it's also exposed the hypocrisy of, you'll go. I'll throw the boomers under the bus because it's majority them is let's glass Iran. And then 12 hours later, they're like, oh, we'll just allow New York City to burn to the ground. But it's the same people, right? You want to glass Iran because Muslims live there.
Yeah.
But then turn around and give over your flagship city in the nation to Muslims. Like, it doesn't make sense. And the hypocrisy has definitely been on display this last week or so.
You're saying Trump is saying give New York to this guy? I think he said the opposite.
No, not Trump specifically,
just
but
people,
just a large swath of people in general.
I have the emotional reaction to, let it fucking, I think I tweeted biggity burn it all down. That's kind of a joke. It's always easier to save a place like that than let it burn down and rebuild it. But
we can have that discussion.
I think a lot of people just
don't
it's
think
kind of
we
like when
should
they
give
said
up like that.
No, I agree, but I'm not surprised people sort of chuckle at it. It hasn't happened yet also.
Well, we did a stream on this.
If he wins, I think you'll see a lot less joking.
Do you know what the percentage of people that speak English in New York City is? 50%.
Is that it?
50% of New York City doesn't speak English. Just think about that for a second.
Just go across the river to Jersey. Same thing right across.
Nobody wins. Anybody that's saying Mamdani doesn't win is delusional.
Are you talking about Nuevo York? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about Little China.
Keep talking. I'm pulling up a picture.
Uh-oh.
Somebody.
See, I go back to what we were saying earlier about, I think in general, basic Americans want to know, why are we involved with what's going on over there? What is our purpose? And I think Trump's trying to explain that in some way. That's beautiful.
We need Snake Plissken in the house. All right,
I
sorry.
watched that on
told you, Lord.
VHS. All right, VHS.
I'm old enough to remember VHS, man. If you don't know, Chad, Escape from New York is a great movie. You should watch it. But they build a fucking fence around Manhattan Island and just turn it into a giant prison. And then the fucking president crashes in it because it's, you know, a shitty B movie from the 80s. And they send in Kurt Russell, who's this absolutely hilarious growling. He's like, "Oh, I'm Snake Plissken. Call me Snake."
One eye.
It's got the fucking black dude that does the voice of Chef in South Park, I think, you know, that kind of shit.
Yeah. There's where we're at. That'll be New York City in 2 years.
I don't want to
2
see New York City burn down.
I'll never go back if that guy gets in. I'll never go back up there. And I mean, I've been in New York City.
Well,
a
like
few
war
times,
with
and
Iran, I think we got to wait and see what happens. They're certainly using this guy to leverage fear and anxiety in voters.
I know one group of voters up there that is not happy, and that's firefighters and the firefighters union up there.
Well,
they are not happy about that.
I just can't see this guy actually winning.
No,
But maybe he will.
But
Well, how does he lose? I guess is the question.
yeah, you're right.
I
You're right,
think. Well, they
That's
did that.
the
You know, they
question. How
had
does he lose?
they had the primary, and then they do these on the street interviews with all these idiots that don't even know what they're voting for. But then that news hits the airwaves. Like, I think a lot of people who just kind of voted for him might kind of change their minds when they start actually looking at what they're dealing with. Maybe they won't look at what they're dealing with, and he'll have a shot. I don't know. Question number two:
you would have to run
are
an
elections
independent.
real or rigged? Are they real or rigged?
Oh, we're gonna go there.
Well, so I mean, I think whoever runs New York is probably can choose who's going to win.
yeah.
So,
Who does run New York?
not me.
Well, you're kind of leveraging the idea that an independent will win, which is I guess theoretically possible, right? Bloomberg did it. He lost Democrat primary, ran for independent.
Yeah.
But he had infinite pockets, and that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, what
New York isn't even close to the same city now. Like I said, I mean, just on the principle that 50% of the people don't speak English. I mean, that's 50% of the vote right there going to Mamdani.
Yeah. And
Right?
what kind of
So
funding does Mamdani
There's
have?
no
Pretty good, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
I was wondering.
He's like
There's no
AOC.
route
There's a fucking team behind
Well,
him.
AOC's right behind. I mean, AOC's doing everything.
Well, I'm saying like
she can.
AOC didn't create that, didn't win that on her own. There was a fucking
yeah.
team of
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. and
Oh,
right-
for sure. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. I really don't think he's gonna win. That's my prediction. I think predictions are key.
Don, stop tolerating the intolerant.
Well, so you gotta. This is maybe an unpopular way to look at it, but in the United States, like anybody can run for any position. I think what's weird.
That's the problem, though, isn't it?
I was just going to say, isn't that the problem? Because
If the Constitution allows America to burn, if the
What I-
Constitution
what I
allows
would
you
rather-
to light the flag on
No,
fire,
I agree.
doesn't mean you should.
Well, what I would rather happen is have a civilian population that's fucking smart enough that people have the freedom to run, and then they look at those idiots and just fucking run them out of town like we used to. That's what I would
Well,
like to happen.
That's a
that'd be
euphemism
great.
for deportation, but we'll take it.
I mean, bad ideas don't scare me. If there's gonna be one place in the world where you can just speak your mind, I think it should be here. And part of the baggage that comes with that is a bunch of fucking idiots speaking their idiotic minds. I'm not really against that. I would just like to be part of a group where most people are smart enough not to fucking go for that. And that's where we're not.
And that's
so like
where-
that. I don't know what the answer is, but
that's where deportation would come into effect.
I just think
I'll tell you what the answer
if you
is. The
start- Go ahead.
answer is democracy sucks.
But we're not supposed to be a fucking democracy. It drives me nuts.
Well,
No, we're
sure,
a
but we are.
republic.
So let's fix
We are
it.
a republic, not a democracy. We are a republic.
I do think any
Well, in the
adult
sense that New York City is a democracy.
Yes.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I just,
Just cut the bridges.
I would
there
also
and let
extend
them
that to a
figure it out.
republic.
what
too,
is there is no system that can account for how dumb people are. Like our system is about as good as it can get. You're supposed to vote for people to represent. There's too many people, so we can't have everybody in Congress. So you got to vote down to get a reasonable number of people. And you're supposed to give a shit about your own life. And so in theory, you'll vote in your own interests and you'll end up with people that represent you. But people,
So herein lies the problem: is you can't fix it. It's not easily fixable. The only way to fix it is to tear down the entire system.
how do you have a
Because to
system
fix the
though where
system,
well, how do you have a system where someone like you or I or Mojack can be born as like a, middle, lower class, you're poor. Your parents were idiots. They were drug addicts. You're born, you're an American citizen. You can't be disqualified from running for office on those grounds. Like, you got to be allowed to have a chance. You got to have a chance to get up in front of people and make a fool of yourself. But you should have that chance. And if you're fucking stupid, nobody votes for you.
I don't necessarily agree. Well, I think if my parents were carpenters, there's nothing wrong with me going to be a carpenter, right? In fact, I think Charles Murray notes on it in his book is that if your parents do a thing, you are better at that thing necessarily by
no, but like, should the son of
a
carpenter in America have less of a vote than the son of a banker?
No, but I'm not advocating for any type of democracy, any type of voting.
Well, so what is your system that would maximize the rights of Americans?
It would mirror like a 1400 Britain monarchy. It would have a king with a two lesser chambers.
Like, you just sort of ignore everybody under a certain age. At a certain age, that's adulthood, and then there's what qualification? Like, you must own land, you must have been here for so many generations, you must that kind of thing.
Yeah, like the founders kind of started this out with.
Well, so say you're an otherwise incredible person, you're a genius, you're Goodwill Hunting, but you don't own any land.
Well, that's a problem. But yes,
we exclude those people, or we expect. Sure. Interesting.
Sure. I mean, what leverage do they have? I mean, do they have children? Do they have a family?
I feel like your system will degrade in the same way like the city-state of Sparta degraded. You'll just
sure. Every system's going to degrade. What I'm advocating for is a system that is easily replaceable. Right. The system that we have now cannot be replaced. You can't replace the people there.
I actually think the system we have now did get accounted for right now by the people who founded it, which is every so often the tree of liberty must be watered by the blood of patriots and tyrants. And I think we're all just too chicken shit to acknowledge that we're pretty fucking close to that point. Nobody wants to be the tree water. We all like to say that, but nobody wants to be the fucking guy in the watering can.
But that is resetting the system, though, isn't it?
It's pretty much what I think Jefferson said, isn't it? Like, sooner or later, this is going to fucking fall apart, and it's your responsibility to recreate from that a new system. No?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think we largely agree. Maybe we're just talking past each other.
No, I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate. I want those Will Huntings, Zeb, but I also agree is you can't sacrifice the system to go exploring for these unicorns. If they're really that fucking smart, they'll find a way to buy some land sooner or later.
And if you're Goodwill Hunting, why can't the government look at you and say, well, we could use you in the government. We could use you as a scientist. We could use you as this.
In fact, sort of what I've been tongue-in-cheek. Yeah.
Big balls. Bring big balls back.
You come back into play as a voter and as somebody with power and all that. My question is, why are these scientists, why are people like Bezos, Musk, and all those, why do they have power over the government? Because of the money they pay.
Well, money, yeah.
That's the whole reason. And how did they get that money? By being smart. So, and by his definition,
partially, yeah.
In his definition, they would have been excluded from being allowed to vote because they were smart. They didn't contribute anything. They didn't own anything at that time before they became wealthy.
Musk shouldn't vote because he's not American.
No,
that's a different.
And somebody had asked me, why doesn't he run for president? I said he can't. He's not an American citizen. He wasn't born in America. He can't run. So there's no use of that.
I don't think there's really any way to account for, like, smart people will have smart kids. Smart people will save up more money than stupid people. And so smart genes tend to accumulate all the wealth over time. Like, over a long enough timeline, everything sort of ends up with the smart people or the savage people. And usually at the very top, it's the combination of both. Absolute wild animal killers who have 160 IQ. That's who's at the top. The world is ruled by smart generalists, they say. I think that generalists. They're not experts at any one thing. They're super high IQ, and you can hand them a novel problem, and they'll figure it out no matter what it is pretty quickly. But they're experts at nothing. I think that's who runs the world, in my opinion. But anyway, you wouldn't let Elon Musk vote, Zeb?
In America? No.
What if you had to choose between Elon Musk and Trayvon Martin?
Well, I don't think he's American either. So. It's not that I don't. I mean, he's not by definition.
Well, you say you're a 10th generation African American. just an American.
Well, they called themselves foundational Black Americans, right? And so that in itself denotes a separation from American itself.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So when I say American, you have in your mind somebody that looks like John Ward, right?
Oh my God.
Respect.
Ooh.
And so I say Black American, you have somebody that doesn't look like John Ward. Like these are separate things.
Can we just have me? Can like we have the police driving around with a picture of me and they like hold it up next to people like, nah, not American.
That's fine with me. Let's do it, dude. We'll just put what's the South Park placard with the colors. We'll just put John Ward's face on one end.
Yeah.
I'm not really against
Trayvon Martin on the other.
I would have a meritocracy if I was in charge. I don't think I'd care what color or gender or anything people were, but I do have a feeling I know what the majority of people would end up being if we did it that way, but we don't.
Well, yes, but then you'll run into the problem of nepotism, which is what we're running into now.
So you can't make a system that accounts for all of that. Even if you have 10 straight generations of the greatest king ever, you'll eventually get fucking some Caligula motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, you could British Empire it for 1,000 years.
Well, that wasn't all the same.
Instead of 200.
That was multiple dynasties of people.
It was the same people. It was different dynasties. These are
some of them were
the same people.
British and some were Saxon, man. They weren't the same people. The current royal family's German.
Well,
you know I'm right.
Well, I'm not accounting for the last 200 years.
Okay.
I guess
200 years together.
Mm-hmm. You want to read it?
Williams Channel 3CC back in the house. What's going on, William Maines? I didn't hang up one of your posters. I should have, but he has incredible artwork. I did also mention Dodger, who did our logo. Please check them out. I do have links to their stuff here. Sorry, continue the conversation. Let me pull up these two guys here that are chatting.
Go for it.
Deacon, you've been around for a while, man. I mean, what's your weight on this? I guess discussion that we're having between different types of government. I guess it boiled down to
seeing everything that has changed in government from the time I was in high school when I actually started paying attention to what government was and everything to what government has become now. It's amazing to see the corruption and how promises are thrown out there that never stick, that are just words anymore. You know, I can remember the whole way back to Nixon, all right? And I do remember some of all that bullshit. And you look at that and you think about what goes on today, and hell, that was nothing, man. Nixon was like shoplifting compared to what's been going on today and the decisions that are made today and everything. But the Iran thing, like I said, I've lived with that forever. That has been part of the news cycle of my life since I can remember watching news. And I mean, it's just, like I said, there's never going to be an end to the tensions that are over there. No matter who, no matter what great negotiator you can come up with, no matter what battle plan for a peace agreement you're going to come up with, it may last for 10 years, but sooner or later, the two bullies on the block are going to bounce heads again, and it's going to break loose again. It's been like that for 500 years earlier. This has been, and they used to describe it back in the 70s and 80s as a religious war. And if you look at it today, it's still a religious war that for some reason we can't stay out of.
I kind of agree with that, honestly. I've always wrestled with this whole separation of church and state in America because I don't think there can be such a thing. Like the whole let's just LGBT, whatever those fucking letters are. That's a church. And that's how that should be understood. There is no science behind it. There's no logic. It's a fucking religion. And
if somebody asks me, are you pro-Israel or are you pro-Iran? I'm pro-American. I don't know how else to put it. I don't.
That's the logical position you end up at if you think about it.
And it's not because I'm tolerable to what's going on. It's just because
it makes most sense.
It makes more sense to me. You know?
And for some reason, people from every country but ours seem to be able to naturally come to this conclusion. I'm Belarusian. I'm Belarus first. Nobody's like, you racist. Well, they probably are now because it's a white country. But fucking, Zimbabwe first. Nobody says anything, and yet for some reason in this fucking country, that makes you racist.
I know.
Here's a question.
And I don't know.
Where did white people come from? Apparently nowhere. Apparently space.
Showed up, man.
And that's where I had this thought the other day is, my God, we're living in a gigantic cargo cult that just hasn't quite fully degraded to that point yet. You guys know what a cargo cult is? In the Southeast Asia, let me pull this fucking ridiculous shit up. Cracks me up a little bit.
But I mean, I'm not for the genocide. I'm not for the the destruction that's going on. I'm not for the killing of the innocent people on either side.
Oh, real quick, sorry. Lord of the Ree, happy Hard M Sunday, world champions. Monarchy is for incestuous reptilians. Get rid of unelected positions that don't have to answer to the people. Incestuous reptilians. Go ahead, sorry. I try to read out all the super chats.
Now where I was at.
I know it happens.
Shit, you did it to me.
That's your job to stay focused.
I know, and I lost focus here with that.
You got it?
Oh, well, yeah. Like I said, I'm not pro-Iran. I'm not pro-Israel. It just doesn't affect anything that I see going on.
Too much complexity there to figure it out. The safe thing to do is like, well, I am pro-America.
Yeah,
That's
I am
it.
pro-America.
It's literally as far away from America as you can get. It's literally the other side of the world. And so if we're just going to go off of like the order of loves, just off of proximity, that's last on the list.
Yeah. We should not send American boys 10,000 miles to fight a war.
Circle jerk. And we get mustache rights again, too. Real quick, cargo cult, because it's very relevant. I think we're at the beginning stages of a global cargo cult. But this term originated because Western forces visited these extremely primitive cultures and left behind a bunch of cargo. And these places have literally created religions around them.
Oh.
You feel that?
Oh, I thought you were talking to us. Yeah,
no, dude, a lightning struck right outside, dude. It shook the whole building. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, do your thing. Don't get roasted. Don't stand under a tree. But so they created these religions around this long lost group of basically what they consider gods that provided this mysterious technology and then vanished. Which is like literally the world we're living. Like I can picture 100 years from now, if this all goes to shit, that like they'll be like falling down electrical lines and they'll be like, what was that shit? Be like, oh, that was from the gods.
Yeah.
But then the gods left us because they were racist.
God shut the lights out.
But they do all these weird rituals to try to call the gods back with their cargo because they literally cannot fucking understand what it was or how it happened or where it came from or why it was so nice. And so it just degrades into this weird cult.
Is that today's kids? Is that the next generation?
I don't mean this in necessarily a racist way, but like, yeah, you have all these third world people coming, say they collapse the United States and it just, most of the technology stops working or being available. They'll become these religious style stories of like, because ancestors told us of a time
when he opened the gate,
when you'd open a small book and it would light up and pull up something called the internet.
No, I just DM'd you a short video. We can watch it real quick if you want to.
On X, you're saying? All right, hold on. I don't know.
Don't show them your DMs, dude.
Good shit, fuck. Yeah, you're right. Hold on. How do I? What camera?
But yeah, the cargo cult thing is insane. I think it's going to hurt a lot of people. With the defunding of USAID. Also, but that has also been what has led to the reproduction boom over there. The population increases, the ability to get free food, right? It's just welfare on steroids for them.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah.
How do I open this thing up in the actual X? This is oh, I see. There we go. Hold on.
I'm holding on. With bated garlic breath.
You're saying black folks created that name white supremacy.
That's correct, from Africa, because we are just amazed by the things they've done. Well, we describe them always by inventions, that's all. They can command water from far away through tubes into their bedrooms. We can even fetch a bucket of water from the next lake, you will be drowned. They can put electricity. We never had one in Africa. They have airplanes fly over us. It's amazing.
Hold on, sorry. No disrespect, but they are way deep cargo cult about 5 years ago. It's good to have hope for them, but it ain't happening. Sorry. I hear you. I heard someone say there was an echo. I think I have it here. Let me see if I can't fix that. No, it's on. It's this stupid fucking thing that happens with.
Yeah.
No, that should be good. That should be good.
Angry Ginger said your mic shit the bed.
Testing?
It's working. I hear you.
All right, I think we're good. Let me know if there's an echo. Oh.
That wasn't there before.
Yeah, what? Why would that just come out of nowhere? Circle Jerk. First, I thought the little hat's got John, and then he's finally on, and we're blessed with the presence of the Deacon and Mr. Thunderstash. What a great day. God is great. Jesus is King. Thank you, Circle Jerk. Thank you. Where was the comment about the echo? It's under the super chat.
Yeah.
Are we talking about just X? X is echoing? Or Zeb? Zeb, did you do something with your Zoom settings?
Are you there?
I bet it's Zeb.
I muted myself because he said mic was off. Is it good now?
It's you, Zeb. I'm doing everything right.
Dude, I just got struck by lightning. What do you want me to do? I'm not dead. I'm still alive. You know?
All right.
I'm struggling over here.
Dude, that's what, I finally get everything going. The fucking lightning strikes. And I'm sitting here on my end, like trying to figure shit out.
That stash was like a lightning rod, grounding them right out and shit.
Rumble.
I have no idea what the issue would be.
I think it was you, Zeb. I think something got wacky. Is it so? You know, I have that Zoom setting. It only echoes when Zeb talks or the video plays. Let me play this again. God damn it.
Superior. Not because of slavery.
Yeah, I got an echo.
That is fucking weird. Is that coming through your end?
I'm assuming it's not me.
I think that Zeb echoes when John changes screens.
Echo.
You sound good to me. Hey, chat.
I sound good to me too.
Is Zeb still echoing, chat? Come on, chat. Help us out, chat.
Good one, Zeb.
Zeb is being ominous with the rebirth. The chat's always like 10 to 30 seconds behind, so we'll give it a sec. Zeb, just say a few things.
Switch scenes in OBS and see if it still does it. Testing, chat? Test, echo?
I have a nested audio scene, so it should be the same. Zeb is echoing on YouTube and Rumble.
Yeah, I hear it on YouTube.
Okay, hold on. But it just started halfway through the show, people are saying?
Now not echoing. Thomas said not echoing.
Where's the Zoom? Reverb gone.
I think it's just at one screen. Because it sounds better now.
Huh.
Maybe it's just the screen with
this one?
Testing.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait.
That's all going across the screen.
Is it Zoom circle? Zeb, talk now. I think I found it.
Testing 1, 2, echo. Reverb? No reverb.
I think this is it. Yep.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, I had to create a new Zoom window for your circle camera, and I forgot to mute that one.
Okay. We're good? Good.
Wait. Fuck. All right. We'll just go here. No more X window. No more X window. All right. Sorry about that. First time back in like fucking 6 months. So I did pretty good, I think, in my opinion. Gone. Yeah.
All right.
Fixed. Okay. I think I did fix it.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Anywho, cargo cults.
All right. No more fucking lightning strikes and shit. Whatever the hell just happened there. Cargo cults. The term cargo cult first appeared in... I don't care about that. Hold on. I don't care about when it first appeared in print. Now I can't find my mouse. It's got on some other screen. There we go. Documented. Yeah, we kind of went all over this, but they involve ritual activities that in some way imitate or mimic actions associated with whites or Europeans. So they ritualize the clothing and dress and actions and then like do this like it's a church service. These activities are aimed at effecting transformations or reversals in status, often associated with skin color. So they try to lighten their skin because they think it'll make them a god. They involve stories of the loss of skills, goods, and knowledge to white people, often those who colonize them. So they say, we used to have these skills, but white people stole them from us.
Yakub did. That's where that's the answer to your question earlier. Where did white people come from?
They got a charismatic leader. Yeah, we were created by an evil black scientist, right? How did they know? They have strong nativist elements. They entail beliefs in the return of ancestors, bringing wealth in the form of money and European goods, which they call cargo. So that's where that word comes from.
I like that one.
Utopian or millenarian. What's a millenarian idea?
Millenarian.
I mean, like Y2K, Yakub 2K. Future in which people will not have to labor. Man, what a dream for them.
Wow.
That's the dream, I guess, at the end of the road is just not.
Maybe it's talking about the millennial at the in Revelation.
And they have continued over many decades, changing slightly, but maintaining core beliefs and practices. So anyway, there you go. Cargo cult, great term to add. It's very important. I think we're living in one. Laughing Dog had said we're well into it. I think it's just getting started, and it's going to get a lot worse. That's my opinion. So, I don't know. We got to teach our kids how to make electricity, I guess, and they'll be gods.
Grandkids, the whole 9 yards. I mean,
My grandson, Olmec, and his Mayan calendar. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach my grandkids like weird, obscure, and be like, just say you made this.
yeah.
Just go be a god. Just go be Yakub. Now, what's the Aztec one that was white? Fucking Quetzalcoatl.
Oh my God.
Oh, what's
wow.
called? Yeah.
How did you get that one out?
The Aztecs had a white god called Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl. Yeah, I don't know why they fucking use like 900 syllables.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody does. They should have just called him Yakub. Anyway. Chat, what's going on, chat? Sorry about that echo. Let me say some quick hellos. Spearhand, what's going on? Good to see you again. And Plick, I mentioned earlier. Bluntman, GDSOB, good to see you. Karen Z, welcome back. That's Pictish over there on Rumble. Welcome, Pictish. Hopefully we have Rumble working again. We'll see a lot more of you. Novum Republic, end of the world messianic mentality. Lance the Boyle, what's going on? Coop Cooper, welcome back. Fart Whiff over on X, thanks for using X. Hope all going well. And who else have I missed? Matt1776 over on Pilled, good platform, check it out. I got to figure out how to turn off those stream notifications. Bin Band, what's going on, this cat? John Paul, I named my son Mixedly. Not Quetzalcoatl, though, so work on it. Work on it. Every woman's dream is to be Zeb's microphone. Well, it is actually 15 minutes past 3, so I think we have hit time. We're going to take a short break, maybe 5 minutes, something like that. We're going to have to boot Zeb off because I couldn't figure out how to take phone calls while Zeb was also on a video call. So, Zeb, thank you for joining us. Will you give us a quick plug? You've been making some awesome content, not to mention, least of all, that Myron Gaines interview was fantastic. But where can people find you and watch your stuff?
Yeah, you can find me over here, Zeb Boykin. I'm on YouTube and X right now. Going to be on Romo. I got to set up a RSS stream. Going to be on every other platform, but you can find me, Zeb Boykin. Fairly simple. I think it might be the actually only one, so that's easy. But yeah, we cover everything from politics, culture, religion, theology, philosophy type stuff. We are live almost every day, around 2:30, 2:45, and extremely interactive chat. So I know we've had a lot of people from this stream over there, specifically Lord of the Ree. I think he's gonna zoom in Thursday. He told me so. Stop by on then if you want to hear a chat between us and him. But we appreciate it. Yep, Zeb Boykin. All the platforms.
It was awesome to have you, Zeb. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. The Deacon and I will be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, probably closer to 5, and we will take some phone calls. And so we will talk to you guys right around then.
Nationalistic, legendary, nationalistic, legendary, nationalist. Well, I stayed outside too long, I got too cold, I froze, I became a whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer. All hail Neil to the white whale. workspaces, looking for racists. Okay, now places, ladies, safety first and wait for my cadence. Okay, patience, baby, wait for me, but crank a bed angle. These are the agents of hate and the pain, and we're gonna rape them. I smell a MAGA hat. No, where is this faggot dad? I'ma stab his fascist ass in the back with the hatchet. Legendary, national. I stayed outside too long. I got too cold. I froze. I became a whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer. Oh hell, kneel to the white whale. Whale solo. I stayed outside too long. I got too cold. I froze. I became a whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer. Oh hell, kneel to the white whale. I stayed outside too long. I got too cold. I froze. I became a whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer, whale killer. Oh hell, kneel to the white whale. I stayed outside too long. I got too cold. I froze.
Alrighty. Let's get your mic turned back up. Take your time.
I'm good. I'm back. Back.
Alrighty. Let's see where our poll ended up. Mostly Dilley.
Wow.
You can still vote in this from any platform. Type which one of these takes you thought was the best on the 12-day war. Just hashtag and then their name. But right now,
I gotta say, I'd have to vote with Sundance on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get this going down. And I guess Zeb is gone, isn't he?
He's gone.
Goodbye, Zeb. Let me throw up
Mr. Zeb is gone.
this guy. No, we don't need to keep that playing. Just bear with me for one moment till I have this the way I like.
Yeah, that quote that's got to be the quote of the century. Like, that's a lifetime quote there with.
Close enough.
I love that. And I don't know. He warned him. He gave him 2 weeks. He told him 2 weeks, and 2 days later, he's bombing shit.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Do you think the press understands now? I know, like I said, I watched or listened to.
Do I think? I don't even know what that references to them understanding, but my answer is no.
No. I listened to that Hegseth interview yesterday, and he ripped into the press bad. I mean, and for good reason. He should. I mean, damn, man. It's great.
Call in now, 814-400-4188. We will take your call, even if you're trolling us, although I will probably hang up on you. Thoughts on the 12-day war? Really anything we've talked about today, if you'd like. And we'll keep it going until we kind of either get till 4 o'clock or run out of steam. But one way or another, appreciate everybody who joined us today. Again, that number is 814-400-4188.
I think Trump he got frustrated to the point that he wanted to get a point across to the press with that whole comment, with that whole, do you fucking understand?
Seemed organic, seemed real.
That wasn't scripted. That came out of frustration and all that shit, I'm afraid.
So give us your thoughts. Everyone gets shy on the phone. That or just
Dilley?
Takes a minute. Dilley's a good dude. He's a soldier. He does his job, does it well.
Yeah, like I said, I have to go with Sundance on that. Let Trump be Trump. Let him do his thing. And I know everybody's worried. I mean,
I think it's fair.
I can tell you our work's slow because of the economy right now with the way things are, and everybody's worried. I understand. I get it. I see my quarterly statement from my investments as well, and it's not a pretty sight sometimes.
Mine just says 0.
But you've got to have patience. You have to have some kind of a trust.
Here we go.
Do something.
3CC, you are on the air. How's it going?
How's it going, John? This is Angry Ginger.
What's going on, Angry Ginger? I thought you said something else for a second.
I did too.
Oh, no. Sorry. No, I just wanted to dude, it was a hard choice between Dilley and Sundance, but I mean, just basically on what Trump said about Bibi being a war hero and all that. That kind of, I don't know, that kind of turns me off personally. So, yeah, the Sundance, I think I'm there too with you.
It's hard, like, when you don't know what to take at face value, but I know you've been watching Trump for quite a while as well, and have certainly seen him say things he doesn't necessarily mean in the interests of doing something that he actually wants to do. I'm kind of hoping it's that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But
fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed is I'm with you. And I think, like Zeb said too, I think everybody has the right to still be a little, where's this fucking going?
Yeah. Time will tell.
Yep.
But how do you feel about the immediate aftermath of the ceasefire and the don't know what the fuck they're doing and where things currently stand? Like, do you think we're going to end up with military in Iran, like say in the next year?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
Have we even heard anything that's happened since the ceasefire? Like, what's happened since the ceasefire? There been any big news? Like,
there's been a bunch of other bullshit news, I guess, but no, it doesn't seem to be escalating. And then there's this whole trial I haven't fully had a chance to read about, but with Netanyahu.
Yeah. I looked into that a little bit. Not a lot, but yeah, he called him a war hero, and he's on trial right now for the opposite.
So the argument I've seen made is Trump did that to draw the average American's attention to the fact that he is on trial.
Huh.
Like, just it's so no, Netanyahu can't accuse him of doing something bad, and yet put that on. Like, I think a lot of people were like, "Wait, what?"
It's a political statement. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's one theory I see going, and so we'll see what happens. But maybe the ultimate hilarity of all of this is that regime change will happen in Israel.
That would be nice.
Because he's been there. Netanyahu's been in power for
that would be nice.
20 years or something. Something like that.
Something.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
And
Too long.
I have noticed a big difference in Trump 1 to Trump 2. The terms. He's a lot more.
He does not care anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He does not give a shit anymore.
A shit about any of it. I mean, he's just going to tell them all, this is the way it's going down. If you don't fucking like it, shut the fuck up and move on.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
And I think that's with world leaders, the press, anybody right now. Look at him and Elon. How close those two were.
Yeah, right. I voted for this. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I voted exactly for this.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate
Deacon, it's good hearing your voice, man.
Yeah, you too. And you are, of course, a 3CC delegate. I was going to reach out to everybody after this show and start kind of inviting people to call back in. So anyway, future Sundays, if you're around and you'd like to join us like Zeb just did, you have a standing invite, my friend.
Absolutely, sure.
Sweet. Hey, stay safe out there on the left coast, right?
Yeah, stay strapped, get clapped, all that business.
All
good
right.
to go.
Yeah. Appreciate you calling in, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
All right, brother. You guys do the same.
Thanks.
Take it easy. All right, angriest ginger or angry ginger. That's not what I thought.
I like it.
Circle jerk. I've no concerns for little hats and hijabs.
I had the exact same thing going.
Again, we'll take a couple more calls here. We'll keep going. 814-400-4188. The question at hand. Thoughts on this. Nope, not that either. This. Intolerable acts or the 12-day war, whatever's on your mind. If you have some thoughts on it, if you have some thoughts on which side of this fence you came down on, or any predictions. I'm a fan of predictions. Hold yourself accountable. Like I said, I do not think we'll be in a hot war in Iran within the next year.
No, there's not going to be boots on the ground.
The longer that can get pushed back, the better.
He does not want that. Trump will not, at all cost, he at all costs will not do that. I'm hoping anyhow. I mean, that's what I believe in. That's what I want to believe in, is that he's not going to go with boots on the ground.
It's got to be really weird for all like the younger kids who were just born around 9/11 and like didn't really see all the propaganda around that and how they fucking got everybody to sign up for it. And
Yep. Although they have said that since this administration has come in, enlistment is up over 80% from what it was during Biden years. That everybody is behind Trump, behind Hegseth now as Secretary of Defense. And I got to say, he does have a good head. in the Secretary of Defense right
Yeah.
He really does.
I haven't really had a chance to watch any of his stuff directly yet. Oh, here we go. King Hunter.
Uh-oh.
King Hunter, you are on the air. What's going on?
Howdy. Long-time follower of the world champions. It's cool to be able to call in and talk to you, man.
Yeah, it's good to have you. You have any specific thoughts relative to this particular show? Iran, Israel, Trump?
Oh, yeah.
Hit us with it.
Yeah.
I'm on the Sundance train on this one, for sure.
Right on.
I really don't think that I'm never for following anyone lockstep and just saying, like, I'm not going to just believe in every little thing someone does and just trust that everything's good all the time. That's too idealistic. But I also support Trump because I do believe that he's coming from a place of someone who's trying to do the best for this country. I just don't always agree with what he does. You know?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty convinced, and I was years ago, honestly, that he is trying. Like, that's a key thing to decide for yourself. But if you think it's
in his heart that he is going to do the best for this country,
seems to have dealt with an awful lot that he didn't need to otherwise deal with. So yeah, I kind of think he's in it to win it.
And everybody goes back to when his first election. Oh, he was just a superstar. He's some TV guy. He's some rich mogul. If you go back to the 80s, and as much as I hate to say her name, Oprah Winfrey did an interview with Donald Trump, and back then he exposed what was going on just like he has today. Back then he saw it and everything. So I'm with you where you don't trust everybody. You're not going to follow in line, but yet, I'm with Trump 100.
King Hunter, you got any predictions?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
In terms of predictions, like, this is my thing. From the outset, I was like, I looked at what he did back during his first term with Syria. And to me, this reminded me very similarly of Syria because a lot of us were upset initially at him bombing that airstrip in Syria. Well, guess what? If you're patient and you wait a minute, you learn. It's like you learn things.
Maybe
like we learned that a bunch of Russian contractors got killed.
Hundreds. Well, also Soleimani, right? The strike on Soleimani, and everyone was saying that was going to be World War III.
Yep.
He explained afterwards his actions. He explained to everybody why I did this. This is why we did this.
The Sundance versus Dilley part of that, though, like you're saying, and I'm in this camp, is early on before we actually bombed, and then that seemed to all work out. We were all a little nervous about being sent to war on behalf of a country that is starting to appear more and more like they've been the cause of all the problems in this region. So, I think that was a fair reaction on everybody's part. But so I don't know. You see this everything since then with the ceasefire, the violation of the ceasefire, and Trump saying "fuck these idiots," all heading again in the right direction, and you're feeling a little better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and this is my thing because I've been the whole Israel-Palestine thing has been one of those like. Dude, these people have been fighting for thousands of years, no matter what the ideologies are. On either side of these conflicts, there's always been conflict and war. And I don't trust Netanyahu at all. I think out of everyone in that region, he's as evil as any and as distrustful as any of the leaders of the Ayatollah and Hezbollah and stuff like that. That guy has backstabbed, and there's a reason he's not. This isn't the first time he's been on trial, and the only reason he's in charge right now is because he basically led a coup to get back in charge after he was voted out. If I'm remembering correctly.
Quickly, we got a super chat real quick. By liberal standards, Trump is owed a Nobel Peace Prize. I think that's kind of relevant. Sorry, continue.
No, you're good. Because, I mean.
Relevant comment. Yeah, it's a good point.
Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize for, being black and, killing as many civilians as he
killing a bunch of people.
Strikes.
Yeah. Total joke.
But, I don't know. my thing is as well, when it comes to the war question as well, there's a lot of targets where I would be a little or a little more bothered, but I've also seen Iran as a massive threat and a government and a leadership group that if something was going to kick off, like, there's someone who needs to be dealt with. And I don't know, I kind of would rather be preemptive with a group like that.
I hear you on that.
And a lot of people...
Well,
go ahead.
I'm less concerned about the immediate threat from Iran than I am about the danger within our own government from spies and corruption and that kind of thing.
Yes. I do feel like every time it seems like anything goes on in the Middle East, I feel like I see more and more of the connections to Israel, and especially in like the intelligence community. And it's hard not to look at the identities of the people who have been heavily in charge of and involved in all of the major points over the last few years. Look at COVID, and you look at who they're tied to or their nationalities. And I don't want to go down the,
No,
I don't want to go down.
I get what I get what you're saying.
Like,
yeah,
it's hard to ignore facts.
It's a
hard
pattern.
to ignore allegiances of people.
Yeah.
See, I think
because if we were looking at this and all these people were involved with a certain extremist group of some sort, everyone would be like, or just tied back to any one nationality. Everybody would think that's weird.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I don't know.
You got to be careful that you don't notice too much. Well, no. So I think what you pointed out, honestly, right at the beginning, a really big, potentially world-changing thing that changed with all of this is not just you, but I think a lot of people are starting to see Netanyahu, who before was this unassailable figure, our greatest ally. They're starting to realize, yeah, he's just another Middle Eastern warlord, another power-hungry tyrant. And it allows us to
and his people don't like or trust him either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And see, they're looking for justification from Trump on bombing and doing what he just did. This strike, he's justified in what he did after, he gave him 2 weeks. He told him, Michael, you got 2 weeks and I'll make a decision. Well, he was justified in taking out their nuclear program. Whether or not the product was there is a totally different story.
Yeah.
But the justification is there because if Iran would have had the capabilities, those people are in the mindset that they wouldn't hesitate to use a nuclear weapon on anybody. And so for me, that's the justification for this entire strike.
I think fundamentally, so you have this story of the Middle East we've been fed, at least in my life since September 11th and George Bush. But the story has always been poor little oppressed Israel struggling to survive against all these people constantly attacking it for no reason. And now the story is becoming, which I think is more accurate, Israel's been attacking a lot of people. They have their reasons they say they're doing this, but it's the same reason we went in for WMDs that ended up not being there. But that is very important that the story has changed in the mind of the average American. There's still years and years and years and years for this to go. But that is so different than the way it's been my whole life.
Everybody's starting to see that Israel is more of an agitator.
Right. And Netanyahu specifically is
Netanyahu's.
Every inch as bad as the Ayatollah, if not worse in a lot of ways. Yeah. So really good insight.
The thing was, my thing is like, because I would, if I need to leave it, I'll leave it with this. Israel has, there's a point to some of the anti-Israel stuff of them going in and, like y'all mentioned earlier, bombing settlements and then moving people in. Zeb mentioned earlier the bombing of a highly Christian area in Gaza.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to paint, because we all like things simple. People like simple stories. People like simple music. Like, people like things that are, the majority of people like things that are straightforward. All of Gaza are the same people. And it's like, they're not, because Hamas isn't even the only Islamic terror group that has control of areas of Gaza. There are smaller groups that are not aligned with Hamas and that fight with Hamas. It's like Gaza's a dangerous place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that whole place isn't uniform. I would say this, like, there were times where Israel was attacked by outside people, but there are times where Israel is aggressively attacking people, and because they have better control of media, they get to tell the story.
Right. They are in control.
It's just like in this country, the left has had more control of media.
Yeah.
They've been able to tell their story.
Yep.
That's what I mean kind of about, I am noticing a very big change, and it's that our side of the story and the way we see it, the way I think any smart, objective person would see it when they look at it and think about it, is starting to become the actual story. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, kind of like you're talking.
And there was a religious element too to it.
Sure.
This Christian tie to Israel. I think the problem there is, as someone who teaches and has been active in churches for my entire adult life and even before that, I think we have a little bit of a misguided view of the current state of Israel and
Israel in the Bible.
Like,
not the same thing.
It's well, because the current state of Israel is really a Jewish state of the post first century Judaism that is not the same as the Judaism prior to their last exile by the Romans. And that's a big, long, complicated conversation.
Sure.
That I'm still educating myself more on. But my thing is, it's like God will take care of his people. And I'm not going to go attacking his people. But at the same time, I don't feel led by the Spirit to wade into a conflict for a foreign state. And the Spirit within me, and that might sound hokey to some people, the Spirit within me is totally at peace with not going to war for Israel for no good reason, or for any country on this earth for no good reason. I don't want to get involved there just as much as I don't want to get involved in Ukraine.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's another thing that's changed. For some reason, we've been allowed to. I don't want to get in a war in Russia. I don't want to get in a war. But then you say I don't want to get in a war involving Israel, and you're anti-Semitic, right?
Which is weird because everyone in that area is Semitic, not just
Jewish I think
people.
Actually most of the Semites are in Palestine. Netanyahu's a Russian. He's a Russian white guy. His last name's Milikowski.
Yeah. Well, what's funny about that is a large percentage of modern Israel has ties back to Russia, like communist Russia.
Oh,
which is
2 or 3 million, I think.
interesting.
Yeah, lots of Russian Jews in Israel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Putin just said something about like half of Israel speaks Russian.
Wow.
So
yes, he did.
Wow.
Another part of this Israel story, I have it on the screen here now, but established 14th of May, 1948, right? So less than 80 years this state has been. Netanyahu has been trying to conflate in the media, and this was the whole Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson thing, if you saw it, with Ted Cruz saying, real quick, Long Walk's music, it's not the Old Testament anymore. God's people is all of us believers. The fallen world will never know true peace until after the good Lord comes back. Well said, Long Walk's music, thank you. But,
Yep.
So there's the famous saying, the state of Israel began with the words, Dear Lord Rothschild. It was British Palestine. They handed the land to Israel, just created this state out of nowhere and populated it with non-Semitic people. Most of those people are not Semitic, right? Ethnically, that is a real ethnicity. A lot of Semitic people are the Palestinians. That's a real Semite. So, but yeah, I don't think the average American is really aware of this at all, at least especially people my age and younger. Out of left field, the British who controlled British Palestine created the state of Israel on behalf of Lord Rothschild in 1948. And its government has been mostly European people that are religiously or spiritually, I guess, Jewish, they say. So not the same thing. And like with Ted Cruz and Tucker, it's not Israel in the Bible is not this state
at all.
It's a people.
Not at all.
Yeah. It's not even a country.
And I'll say this as well, like you saying that or saying about like people your age and younger, like our generation and the generations after us. Well, that's because the generation and mostly multiple generations before us don't know that either.
Right.
They had no clue about any of that. Like people who were alive before, and are walking the earth right now, who were alive before this current state of Israel was a country. They don't know that wasn't a country, or that those people weren't there before like the 40s. Because the reason there's a lot of tension there is because all these people were moved in, and then there was this agreement, but not agreement, that didn't work out. Because there was, like, originally it was supposed to be a single state solution, but that wasn't good enough for either side, really. But it was, the reason that came about was because of the people who were coming into the land. Mm-hmm. And there's something to be said of, we can look at, biblical Old Testament prophecy about God bringing, his people back, but none of that prophecy happened. It's like the last prophecy we had was when Jesus and then Revelation. When Jesus said that they would be exiled again, which happened. The Romans did that. Well, in Revelation, it says, the end of the world. Like, I'm heavily paraphrasing here because there's a lot of
you're
text
good
there. But, the temple's rebuilt. That's when things are going to go down. Well, my thing is, Lord coming back, I'm ready whenever that happens, whenever you choose to do that. But I'm not here trying to accelerate things, because that's going to be a lot of death, a lot of destruction.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure as many souls are turned to Christ before that happens. The temple being rebuilt is not necessarily like a good thing for the people of earth, depending on which side of judgment you are on. And it doesn't say that the person who rebuilds the temple is a hero. It doesn't even mention that person or those people. It basically just says it as a happening, like as a sign.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean whoever does it is a hero. And it's very highly likely that whoever the Antichrist is, or Antichrist, if there's multiple, like one of those people will be involved in rebuilding it. And they will be seen as a hero. But anyway, that's me getting
I was enjoying listening. I think that's a whole show topic for a Sunday in the near future, because I do want to talk about all of this stuff. It's very relevant, and the story's been all twisted up. And I think a lot of people don't know the kind of stuff that we're talking about right now. But just in the interest of giving at least one more person a chance to call in, I do hope, King Hunter, you're going to join us for future shows. I think you have a lot of really interesting ideas.
Can I leave you with a word of encouragement?
Absolutely.
Yeah, please.
You're doing the Lord's work. Y'all are doing the Lord's work. I really appreciate what y'all are doing. Keep doing what you're doing, and keep seeking truth. Truth is the only thing that can defeat what ills this world. And it's not an easy fight, and it's not an easy path to walk. And we were told as such that it wouldn't be an easy path to walk, but we have to walk it.
Amen. So we appreciate you and what you're doing. It's not being easy is the very thing that makes it worth doing. So we appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in. Hope to talk to you again, King Hunter.
Absolutely.
Take it easy, buddy. All right. Hopefully I didn't cut him off there in the middle of one more reply. It is 3:43. We will leave this phone up. You want to do one more? You got a few minutes?
I'm here.
814-400-4188. We got time for about one more call, maybe two. We'll see. Anything on your mind that you want to talk about with respect to the 12-day war, Israel, Iran, Trump? You want to get
He's got a good perspective.
Yeah, get biblical with it, because I think that's part of the story.
That is part of the story. That's what
100%. There's a lot of confusion going on over Israel, the country, Israel in the Bible. All right, here we go. You are on the air with 3CC. What's going on?
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
All
this
good.
Is Joshua Sanders.
What's going on, Joshua Sanders?
Not too much. So I am calling with a little bit of my own opinion on the propaganda that I think is clear we're getting from both sides of the media. They're in lockstep about one thing, and it's what really matters in this propaganda campaign, a propaganda campaign almost exactly like the one that was organized against the world post 9/11. The left and mainstream media are running with the narrative that we failed to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities, that Iran right now could build a bomb within a month.
Mm-hmm.
The right, yes. So the right claims that we not only destroyed their nuclear capabilities, but that we have the situation under control.
Mm-hmm.
What they both agree on, and this is the propaganda, is that Iran had the will and capability of building a nuclear bomb. That's simply not true. Our own intelligence agencies, alongside Mossad, alongside MI6, all say Iran was not developing a nuclear weapon. The International Atomic Energy Agency, which is funded mostly by the United States, has regular visits to Iran nuclear facilities. They said Iran was not developing a nuclear weapon. Our own head of the CIA, recently appointed, said that they are not building nuclear weapons. This is exactly like the post 9/11 world. In fact, Netanyahu said post 9/11 and has been saying for decades that Iran was only months or weeks away from developing a nuclear bomb, with the hopes that the United States would get involved in a war with Iran. So I guess my main point is that I don't necessarily agree that there won't be boots on the ground. I think it's part of the plan. I think there might be a false flag at some point to lure the American people into an attack on Iran, and that's my fear.
I think I actually agree with pretty much everything you said. So would you say Trump is in agreement with this future plan to have boots on the ground, or he's fighting against that plan despite knowing that that's the plan?
I don't know.
I know. Is this true?
Okay.
Well, like, why would he, if he wanted to go in, why wouldn't we be in there already is kind of what I asked myself.
I honestly think Trump is still trying to navigate which people he can and can't listen to. Tulsi Gabbard, J.D. Vance, or people like Hezgeth, or, the chicken hawks.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's difficult to navigate that, but I agree with that it is. Trump's a very hard man to get a firm grasp on what he's doing from just media snippets.
Yes,
he does a lot behind the scenes that I think is some people would call it 3D or 4D chess.
Definitely a bit of that.
Yeah. So when you ask if Trump is involved, no, I don't think he wants boots on the ground. Absolutely not. But there are definitely forces at play that absolutely want boots on the ground, and they are running the media campaign from both sides with that one propaganda piece. Iran was developing a nuclear bomb. And the fact that we know Iran wasn't developing a nuclear bomb is key, that or not key rather, but it's light shining on all of us that we are being fed propaganda. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, I think I actually completely see it the way you see it, and I think that's kind of the Sundance take too. I don't mean to cut you off here, Mojack. I'll give it to you in 1 second, but
yeah.
The media is all talking. I mean, I think this all looks very much like an Israeli control. Like, Israel really wants to go into Iran. I think that seems to be undoubted. And they don't really.
Exactly.
They just needed a reason whether it was true or not. I think you make a great point, which is I remember that Tulsi Gabbard stuff as well, her specifically, saying that they're not capable of making that. I really don't think they are either. It really doesn't seem like they're capable of it. I think Trump knew Israel was using this as an excuse to draw us into war. I don't know what we bombed, but I highly doubt it was some kind of uranium enrichment thing. But I think Trump seems to be actively trying to keep us out of it. But if you're talking about these unseen forces in the media especially that are very obviously trying to get us into a war with Iran, we didn't destroy anything. That allows a reason for us to still need to go there. And why Trump's side is so adamantly saying, no, it was destroyed, end of story. Mm-hmm. That removes Israel's excuse for invading, and now they got to come up with some other plan that's going to take them a long time.
I didn't think about that point of view. That's actually, that makes sense.
The whole point of the quote-unquote story of destroying the nuclear material, what that does that's good for the United States and good for the world is it removes Israel's excuse for doing anything. Because if they keep pushing... Yeah, and so I kind of suspect that we maybe actually didn't really bomb anything important at all, and this was Trump's, like you said, 4D chess way of removing any excuse Israel had to continue the hostilities, removing the United States from the situation entirely, and just sort of leaving it up. Now, I think like Zeb said earlier, and everybody is right to be still like, well, there still could be a fucking problem there. Yeah, of course. Of course. But it's a complicated world. I think that was the immediate impending disaster, and I think it was avoided.
I guess my question would be, is Trump strong enough to withstand those outside forces to keep boots from going on the ground, without... How do I put that?
Was it even beyond strength? Like, is he the whole Epstein? Is he blackmailed?
Can he stand up against these foreign powers, these outside forces that want this, that are hoping for this? Can he withstand that? And if so, who's going to help him with that? Who are our adversaries right now?
I think that's what the bombing attack was about. Without, like, if there's still this specter out there that Iran, which is why the media, by the way, is there still could make it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's an impending.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Trump is just hardline. No, they cannot. Not a problem. And as long as he sticks to that, there is no, well, you're not our greatest ally. You're anti-Semitic or whatever. He's just like, there's no fucking nuclear shit. It's gone. And that. No more excuse for a war. That's right on that point, so I think that was tactical. So I don't know if that maybe. I certainly don't feel good.
I hope you're right.
I don't think everything's gonna be great forever, for sure. But you have this immediate clusterfuck, and I think it was navigated as well as it possibly could have been.
Did he use that to find out who is going to stand with him and who's going to go?
Also a good point.
That bomb right there, when that whole bullshit, was that to say, okay, this is it. This is what I'm capable of doing. Who's with me? Who's not with me?
I think most world leaders are reasonably interested in stability and peace and making money, maybe, whatever. But just blowing everything up really isn't good for anybody except maybe Israel.
Trump doesn't want violence. Trump doesn't want war. He wants a peaceful resolution of things.
It's the old cui bono, right? Who benefits? And so who benefits from there being nuclear material? Not Iran.
Not Iran.
Israel does, though. It gives them a green light to be crazy assholes. So I think that's what happened.
Very good insight.
But I see where you're at. You want to, before we let you go, you want to throw out any wild, interesting predictions? Book of Revelation comes real in November 2nd at 12 p.m. or something like that?
No, not necessarily. I just said there are sinister forces behind the scenes that absolutely would love us to go to war with Iran.
Yeah. Definitely.
But you did ease some of my concerns. I did not look at it from that point of view. And I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, I don't know that, but I mean that's what it seems like and what I hope for.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, to throw a spin on all of it, to see where everybody else stands on that.
Yeah,
I'm glad I called and shared my thoughts, because that was weighing on my mind. I appreciate your guys' take on it.
Hey, that's what we're here for, too, to get it off your chest, man. That's what we're here for. Get it out there and let everybody hear it.
Amen.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you calling in, Joshua. I hope to talk to you again. That was a super well thought out call, by the way, so really appreciate that. Yep. But we're going to let you go. Hope to catch you on the another Sunday here in the near future.
All right. Take care, gentlemen.
Take it easy.
Have a good day.
Yep. You too. All righty. It is, we're about there. So I don't know that we have a time. Those were great fucking phone calls.
They were.
All of those
really
were good.
Really good.
Thank you guys, everybody who called in. Let me close this in case somebody was lurking on that number.
I missed this. I got to say, I have missed this. I've missed this.
Me too.
It's good to get back out and vent and listen to other people and talk about the same things and that kind of stuff. Like I said, after the election, man, I dropped out. I went off grid. You couldn't get a hold of me at all. But this is great. I'm glad to be back.
That was me in 2020 for like 2 years, so don't sweat it.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, and just go out in the woods and kill some shit for a while. It's therapeutic.
It is.
But the Deacon, he is back. We're going to work out here exactly what our sort of future 3cc schedule will be. We want you to be here as much as possible.
I want to come back as much as possible as well.
It might be a little later in the day.
Yeah, we may change the time a little bit.
Oh, I did have, I saw, okay, so Long Walks Music, how's Inward coming along? It's coming well, filming episode 1. I also saw Circle Jerk here. Name one thing you're going to use that stupid fucking rope for. I don't know. Charlie Bronson's always.
It's fucking cool.
That's fucking Boondock Saints, right? Yeah.
It's fucking cool, all right? Shut up. You got your fucking knife.
It's pretty good. You're Irish, right? Me too.
I do have Irish, yes.
We're the little Boondock Saints. But fantastic fucking phone calls, honestly. That was a great show.
Yeah.
Talked about the Intolerable acts, the 12-day war. Anyway, the idea of 3cc, if possible, we'll do it on Sundays. But if you're like me, you were raised, I was raised Catholic, but Christian of some kind, and you used to have some sort of church that was once a week in your life, and it was kind of a good thing. But then the church, in my particular case, started molesting children and shit, so kind of walked away from it. Spirituality and the belief is still there. The understanding of this biblical story is still there, but I just can't find a place. It's more that I can't find the people that I want to go hang out with and talk about this stuff every Sunday. And as you can imagine, the way I talk going into a church doesn't really work out well for anybody. So we kind of thought, I know it's kind of like satanic in some ways to say you're just starting your own church. We're not starting a church. We're starting a Sunday show where we talk about the things we care about. I think I want to do American scripture at the beginning of each show. So today was the Intolerable. It's just history, especially around the revolution, because it's very relevant to what's happening right now.
History repeats itself.
Oh, it's all right there. Quartering Act, blah, blah, blah. And then the 12-day war. So each will have a little American scripture. We'll have a little current events, and then some guests, at least one Zoom guest per episode, something like that.
Yep.
And then we'll take calls in the second hour. I think this worked out great. That was kind of the idea.
Yep.
And I'll not have echoes and shit. Emojis will work and all that shit. But the poll did work. It looks like tie between Dilley and Sundance. Not a lot of Nick Fuentes fans in here. That's because we're all over 30 years old mostly. But he does have influence with the younger guys, especially. I know some of our studio members are a big fan of Nick Fuentes. So the story will continue, but for now, not boots on the ground in Iran, not fighting for Israel to conquer and colonize other countries. All great, but in my book, everybody's starting to treat Israel and Netanyahu as just regular people in a regular country, as they should, I think.
Yep. The only ones praying for war are the businessmen.
Yeah, fuck that noise. It's not a pussy thing to not want a war again. All my buddies were right turning 18 when Iraq and Afghanistan started, and that wasn't great.
See, my brother, Todd served in the first Iran war, the first Iraqi war. My brother was over there in the first war.
Well, it's like
before 9/11,
some kind of officer.
Before 9/11, he was in the Seabees, and he was over there to provide comfort for the Kurds. He was over there during that whole operation and shit. So, like I said, we've been dealing with them for thousands of years. It's not going to change. It's
literally thousands. Chat, one more goodbye. I see Banana Pants. I see Cunnin' Stunt. Man, that was a tricky one to say. I think I got it. William Maines, I'll have some of your posters up on the wall next time, I promise. Spearhand again, good to have you. David Smith, good show. Thank you, David Smith. I don't think I caught you before, but always good to see you. Coop Cooper again. Hunter King, who called in. Good to have. Fucking again. Fantastic phone calls. Sandman Trials, hiker emoji over on Rumble. This weird pilled thing that keeps giving me the notifications. I'll try to fix that. William Maines, thank you. You didn't have to do that. We appreciate it. It's a smart chat. Karen Z, again, thank you. Don't leave us for too long again. That was the Inward comment. Inward is a 4-episode mini-series I'm working on. Final thing. I'm not like plugging it yet fully because it's not done. But it's like a movie broken into 4 parts. So I hope you will enjoy that. I hope that have all wrapped up and polished and ready to publish here in the next few months. Been working on it for 9 months. Takes a long time when you do every single part of it by yourself. I'm also not a good actor. So, But we might up our production value, go down to the Mojack's wilderness camp and shoot some guns and shit on camera. We'll see.
There you go.
And we will figure out right after this what our schedule will be, and we'll let everybody know. But 3CC, one way or another, will be back regularly and in this format. Take it easy. Go enjoy your other content creators or your literal church. Mojack, wait, there you are. You on X and Twitter and all?
I am on X. It's Deacon at Deacon Mojack.
Deacon
on
Mojack.
X. I am on Instagram as Deacon. So look me up there.
I'll get those queued up for next
time.
Yeah,
yeah. Like I said, I fell out and dropped all that. And
right. You're not going to disappear in a month.
I ain't disappearing. I'm not going
killing bears again, are you?
Killing bears and catching fish and trapping deer. I don't know, hunt that. Trap
really
deer
fun.
with snare and stuff now.
Can I come out on your boat with you?
Yeah.
Fishing? All right.
As soon as I get time to get out on my boat.
Great to see you. Knowing you're alive.
It's good to see you again.
Chat, all you guys, calls, everybody. That is it for today. I am John Warden. Until next time, remember, you are a world champion. I slided my own volume off right in the middle of my own catchphrase. Don't let your memes be dreams. And also have your microphone on when you're not dreaming. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. When you're not dreaming of memes. That's it. I'm out. Take it easy. Later.